Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans. 1973-76 Carryover League. Another opening day in Cincinnati. San Francisco Giants and the Cincinnati Reds. And oh boy, woo! These got some fireworks in these two clubs. Teams drafting 30 and 31, if that means anything. Only Oakland, of course, 32. Yeah. So this is the height of your powers, Giants-Reds. In a rivalry that may never have been a rivalry, because we always assumed it was the Dodgers and the Reds in the National League West in the 1970s. But turns out the Giants are extremely good, and they're going to give the Reds everything they can handle. And the Reds think the Reds thought they were the best team a year ago, and they still think they're the best team, even though they lost to Oakland in the World Series. So today's pitching matchups. The Giants had their choice of aces. 4 of them in 4 years, 73, 4, 5, and 6. Who was the best pitcher? They're all here. They went with 74 ace Jim Barr. 13-9, 274 ERA, and 240 innings. And the Reds will dial up Jack Billingham with a very nice card. Probably the best card of his Reds career. 19-game winner, 1973. ERA of 3.04. Gullit's ERA, Don Gullett 3.04, Gary Nolan 3.16, Pat Zachary 2.74. So the Reds have some really good starting pitching, better than their bullpen, and of course the offense is otherworldly. From Cincinnati, Ohio, let's get started. Another opening day, leading off for your San Francisco Giants. Some guy with 39 home runs. His name's Bobby Bonds. The leadoff hitter for San Francisco. Talk about embarrassment of riches. 2-3, grounds to short. Von Joshua, a rookie, 210, lines the first. And Gary Matthews, 54, lines the second. Easy come, easy go for Jack Billingham. Bottom half, it's Joe Morgan leading off. 47 is a base hit for Morgan. Double-A stealer, -1 arm. What are we going to do here? Let's pump the brakes, relax a little bit. Morgan's not want to go for a stolen base trophy. More than, as Rose once said, that most of his stolen bases were in the late innings anyway. And there is Pete Rose, 4'11", right X. Bobby Bonds is a 1E11 in right field. He makes the grab. Ken Griffey, 2-6, single dot. It's the Ken Griffey era. Can't wait to say Ken Griffey's home run. My worst Joe Garagiola I can think of. But anyway, that's a base hit for Ken. Runners in the corners for Johnny Bench. 59, second C. That'll score a run. Runner at second, 2 outs for Tony Perez. 49, single to 14. Gets it. On the corners for George Foster batting 6th. 57 is a K. He'd be a number 3 hitter on most teams. Struck him out. Top of 2. Willie McCovey, 69's a walk. Dick Dietz, 67 is single, 1 of 17, lines out. Easy Ed Goodson. Your typical 302 hitting number 6 hitter. 310, flies a right. And crispier, crunchier, 68's a walk. 2 on, 2 outs for Tito Fuentes. 2-5, rolls the first. Geronimo, 54, flies left. Dennis Menke, 47, is a base hit. Dave Concepcion's got about 9th on this team. 56. Second X. Fuentes is a 2E6. That's a double play. We go to the third. It's Mark Hill, 35, base hit. Back up top to Bobby Bonds, 49, pops to first. Von Joshua, 110, is a base hit to center field. 2 on, 1 out. Gary Matthews. 3-5 is a walk. The bases are loaded for Willie McCovey. 5-10 is a strikeout on the Billingham card. And with 2 outs, we got to look at this card. It's Dick Dietz. Probably a guy you just don't want batting with the bases loaded. Let's take a look at Dick Dietz' 1973 card. 139 at-bats, 49 walks, and a 295 batting average. What are you supposed to do to get the guy out? He gets his homers, and he has 2 entire columns of walks both ways. Here's the pitch to Dick Dietz. 49 off Billingham is a pop to first. Bottom of the third, Joe Morgan, 66, pops to second. Pete Rose, 58, lines the first. And Ken Griffey, 1-9's a base hit. Johnny Bench, 48 off the bar card, another single. 2 on, 2 outs for talking Tony Perez. 312 is a Lomax. Into the fourth, it's Easy Ed Goodson, 1-7, grounds first. Crispier, crunchier, 1-8, a single and a 5, he gets it. Tito Fuentes, 1-4, flies to center field. And Mark Hill, 2-6, K's. 2 turns through the Giant lineup, no problem at all from Jack Billingham. He has walked some batters, giving up 3 singles. Not bad at all. Bottom of the fourth. It's George Foster, 1-5's a walk. Cesar Geronimo, 66, pops to second. Dennis Menke, 4-10, pops to short. And Concepcion, 1-7 is a strikeout. Both pitchers mirror each other, and number of batters faced. But you got to have a run to Cincinnati on a ground out. Of course, in the first inning, teams don't normally bring the infield up with runners on the corners. And that's the reason why it's not scoreless. It's a 1-0 game as we go to the fifth. Back up top to Bobby Bonds. 4-10 center. Von Joshua, 64 off of Billingham. Homer, 1-5, double the rest. And that is gone. Von Joshua had 7 homers. Gave him power versus righties, not lefties. And we're tied at a run apiece. Gary Matthews strikes out. And Willie McCovey, 32, fly by the left. We'll look at more cards when they start doing something. But in a low-scoring game like this, we just keep on moving on. Bottom of the fifth, here in Cincinnati. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay. Morgan, 47, base hit. Let's try a stolen base this time. 16, he is being thrown out stealing by Dick Dietz. No, by Mark Hill, excuse me, with a -1 arm. Pete Rose, missed opportunity there, 59. Rolls a second. No, with 2 outs. Ken Griffey is a walk. Runner at first, 2 outs for Johnny Bench. 2-7 is a strikeout. We go to the 6th inning, 1-1. Anybody's game. Same number of batters for each team. Dick Dietz. 2-7, well, you know what that is. It's a walk. Sell the card. Easy Ed Goodson, 34, is a 3-6-3 double play. And with 2 outs, it's Crispier, crunchier. Crispier, he rolls to third. Bottom of the 6th. Crisply played game. Tony Perez, 6-12. A comebacker to the mound. George Foster, 69. Flies to center. And Geronimo, 49 off bar, second X. Fuentes, 2E6, makes the play. We go to the 7th in Cincinnati. 1-1. Tight affair here. Must be chilly. Hitters just aren't making good contact today. Tito Fuentes, 2-8's a strikeout. Mark Hill, 1-6 is another strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's Bobby Bonds. Let's see here. Where are we? 410 for Bobby Bonds is center B off of Billingham. 3 up and 3 down. 6 in a row retired by Billingham. Stretch time here in Cincinnati. We got there rather quickly and surprisingly today. I tell you that, folks. A very quick, And we are enjoying listening to 3x3, the Isley Brothers, 1973, of course, from Ohio. So they often are the accompaniment. Who is that lady? You're all probably wondering. Listening to the music, sunshine, summer breeze, all comes down on this wonderful hour-long double LP from the Isley Brothers. There we go. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. Can the Reds, fans are on their feet for stretch time. Can they take a lead here? It'll be number 8 hitter Dennis Mankey. 110's a strikeout. Concepcion, 39. Rolls to short. Joe Morgan, 52. Flies to left field. Probably should mention now a couple things, folks. Starter 9 pitchers can pitch into the 10th inning. Neither are. They're both starter 8s. Number 2, if we get to extra innings, we're using the modern game rules this year. Actually, it's funny. 1973 was an innovation for adding the designated hitter. We're using an innovation in our carryover league where we're putting a runner at second base to start the extra inning frame like they do in IRL MLB. Let's go to the 8th. Von Joshua. 64 off of Billingham. He hit it earlier. Homer 1-5, double the rest. He misses it here. It's a 2-base hit. The dangerous Von Joshua. Both these teams have electric rookie left-handed outfielders, Ken Griffey and Von Joshua. Of course, Griffey goes on to a long career. Joshua is more of a zenith rather than a portent, I guess you could say. He's at second base for Gary Matthews. 59, second C. Runner goes to third. The infield's going to come up for Willie McCovey. What are you going to do here? What are you going to do with McCovey? I mean, in the bullpen, you've got Clay Carroll, Bill Moore, Pedro Bourbon, Fred Norman. But you know what? Billingham has earned today to pitch as far as he can go. So he'll bring the infield up for McCovey. 3-11, rolls to third B with the infield up. It gets caught at the plate. So Von Joshua gets stuck between third and home and tagged out by Johnny Bench. Oh, my. Ground ball, third B with the infield up and 1 out. Normally you only do that with first and third, but late in games you want to prevent the lead run from scoring on a ground ball to second and short. So that's an out. McCovey's at first, and you got Dick Dietz. 5'10 catcher's X. Of course, this is Bench, a 1-5 catcher, and that's the end of the inning. And much like Jack Billingham, Jim Barr is going to test his ace medal by continuing against the Murderer's Row beyond Joe Morgan here in Cincinnati. It's Pete Rose, your 1973 MVP. By the way, as far as MVPs or guys who have won it, you have Morgan, Rose, Bench, Foster. Not necessarily in their MVP years, but you get the idea, folks. Pete Rose, 65 off Barr, flies to center. Ken Griffey is a grounder to short. Short X. Chris Beers a 2E14. Good for him. But he goofs it. Come on, I just tallied this defense. 2E14, darn good defense for the Giants, but not there. Not at that moment. It's an error. Now, you've got Ken Griffey and Ace Steeler at first, but you have Bench and Perez at the plate. I think I'm going to let these guys swing away. It's so hard to attempt a steal with Cincinnati, because then you look so silly when they get caught stealing and all this lumber comes up, after that. With that being said, Johnny Bench, 4-11, off the Bar card, is fly ball to right X, out in right field. Bonds is a 1-11. Can we get another unusual error? No, we do not. And it's Tony Perez. 410 pops to short. Pitching is the rule of the day. Look at the mirror between the two teams and the efforts of Barr and Bellingham. They're both starter eights. The warranty's off in the, in the ninth inning. You don't have to take it to the dealer for that recommended maintenance for Bellingham and Barr. We're in nowhere land in the ninth inning. It's Ed Goodson leading off for the Giants. 1-6, grounds to short. Crispier, crunchier, 58. Great taste, less filling. Short X, Concepcion is a 2E21. And he makes the play. And the fans are on their feet with 2 outs in the ninth. Rooting on Bellingham to go his 9 innings. Tito Fuentes, 210, flies to center field. I can put here, Bellingham has gone 9. He cannot pitch a 10th inning. So we know his day is done. Can the Reds get a walk-off win and a complete game for Bellingham off of Jim Barr? Here we go in the bottom half. It's George Foster. 2-6, grounds to short. Cesar Geronimo. 2-8, let's take a look at a card for once. My goodness. Geronimo, 74. Second highest batting average in the Big Red Machine era because he hit 307 in 1976. We decided to keep the 74 card because he's hitting 281. And that paid off there with a base hit for the C Steeler. Now you got number 8 hitter, Dennis Mankey. Let's take a look at some cards. We're getting late in this. 73 Mankey was part of the movement between Houston and Cincinnati. Great on-base machine, great utility player. And not just any old utility player, folks. He's a 2 at first and third and a 3 at second. So good glove at multiple positions. You don't see that normally out of your utility guys. 69 walks and 241 at-bats. That's 100 and some odd if he plays a full year. Here's your pitch to Dennis Mankey. 55 off Barr is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's Dave Concepcion. 35 is a fly ball to center field, and the day is done for Jim Barr. And naturally, opening day in the National League, we got to go to the kooky extra inning rule right away. The way we implement this is using this extra column here to indicate not who's that lady like the Isley brothers said, but who's that guy on second base. We'll put a 0 there. That means Tito Fuentes is at second base to start the inning. Number 9 hitter Mark Hill. We need a pitcher as well. I think we're going to go right to the closer. We're going to go Clay Carroll. Clay Carroll is most consistent to look like a Jack Bellingham, a righty who's better against righties than lefties. So the Giants lineup is already configured to that. You don't have to think too hard about going to the bench. So he will pitch in the 10th. Clay Carroll. Let's show you Clay Carroll's card and the stats. 12-5, 2.14 ERA in 1974, and 100 innings. Runner at second base is Fuentes. Mark Hill, not a good candidate to bunt over. He's a D bunter. He'll have to swing away. Here's the pitch to Mark Hill. 3-6. Let's take a look at the Mark Hill card. Well, he was a Cardinal in 1974. I love it when Strat-O-Matic does this. 21 at-bats. He had 238 and 21 at-bats, so I guess he had 5 hits. Yeah. One of those was a double. There were 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. And that got himself a Strat-O-Matic card. 3-6. Actually, I think he played with the Giants and Houston in his career. Anyway. And maybe the White Sox as well. 3-6 is a single to center field. Are you going to run Fuentes with nobody out? Not against Geronimo. This is where the Reds can beat you with defense. So you got Geronimo in center with a -4 arm. So Fuentes is at third. Hill is at first. The infield's going to come up for Bobby Bonds. 1-7, single 1 to 13, and he lines out on a 20. Still up for Von Joshua, having himself a day. 3 for 4. 3-7, center B question mark. Fuentes. Now you think you're going to run. You get the +2. So Fuentes. Tito. A 15. A 16. A 17. -4 for Geronimo. Makes it running on a 13. Here's the play at the plate. And he scores on a 9 right there. So that is a sac fly for Joshua, scoring Fuentes. Runner at first, 2 outs, Gary Matthews. 1-8 is a strikeout. 2-1, bottom of the 10th, top of the red lineup. Oh my gosh, this is interesting. Morgan, Rose, Griffey bench. 2 are lefties. Do we indeed go to Gary Lavelle, the lefty closer? Oh, let's do it. We have a lead. Play it by the numbers. Gary Lavelle, the giant closer. 1975, 6-3, 296 ERA in 82 innings. And can we make the Giants' defense any better? You got 2, 2, and 1 in the outfield. Oh, you got Bob Robertson you could bring in at first base. Let's do that. So Bob Robertson will play first base as a 2E14. And you know what? We can improve our defense at third base. Rob Sperring can go in at third. So we had defense at 2 positions. Here, in the bottom of the 10th, and the Reds are like, we don't care who's pitching. We're the Reds. It doesn't matter who you throw out there. Dave Concepcion, outstanding base runner, a 16. Yeah, he gets to be the ghost runner at second base. I know what you're thinking. Just bunt and score on a ground ball or just tie the game. But I think we're the big Red Machine. We want to win this thing right here. We don't care about that we're down by a run. Morgan, Rose, Griffey, bench Perez against a lefty. We're just going to start hacking away here. Joe Morgan with a runner at second. Here's the pitch to Joe. 1-9 for Morgan. Let's take a look at the card. It's 1975 Morgan. The second best card of his in the era behind the 76 card, which is probably the best Strat-O-Matic card of the 1970s, period. 1976 Joe Morgan. The stats: 327, 17 homers, 132 walks, got himself a nice World Series ring in 75. 1-9, single 1-10, and he comes through with a 3. So, just like the what the Giants did, Reds doing the same thing. They got the runners on the corners with nobody out. They're going to have to bring the infield up for Pete Rose by any other name. 3-11 for Rose is hit by the pitch. You plunked him. Rose turned that elbow right into that pitch to the dismay of Gary Lavelle. The bases are loaded. There's nobody out in a 2-1 game. Heck, you could play back, get a double play, and the game is still tied. But Ken Griffey is the batter. We haven't looked at the card yet, have we? No. Let's look at it now. Are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me? How can you give the Reds so much? 1976, 336, Ken Griffey. Infield will come up because he's got all sorts of ground ball Bs on his card. Here's the pitch to Ken Griffey Sr. 65 off Lavelle is a base hit in her right field. There's no need to run anybody here. The game is tied. Morgan could have run as a 17 runner against a -4 arm, but that would be silly, as you got probably a 95% chance to win this game now. That scores Concepcion, the ghost runner, and the bases are loaded. Morgan, Rose, and Griffey. And Johnny Bench is the batter against the left-handed pitching Lavelle. Not a lot you can do here. There's no recipe of how to get out of this mess. It's called take your fingers and cross them if you're the Giants. That's the only thing you can do in this scenario. The infield, outfield play up. And here's the pitch to Johnny Bench. 55 off Lavelle is second X with the infield up. Now that's a good one. He's a 2E6. But it's a single off of the 2 Tito Fuentes, and that's your ball game. Well, little anticlimactic. Finish this without recording an out in the bottom of the 10th. The 2E6 second baseman gives up a single on his 2-ness right there, as you can see. And that's your ball game. And so all you Reds haters out there, no. Not going to happen. Cincinnati, again, will figure it out. If they don't have the machine clicking, they got Billingham with a nice start. They have Clay Carroll coming to the rescue. And, of course, timely at-bats by Hall of Famers, Morgan, Rose, Bench, etc. Cincinnati Reds win opening day by a score of 3-2. Actually, 9 innings for Barra, not 8. There it is. So the winning pitcher is Clay Carroll, who started the 10th inning when they actually surrendered the lead. Instead of a loss for Clay Carroll, it's a win as Gary Lavelle gives up 2 runs in the bottom half of the 10th. He takes the defeat. No decisions, 9 inning efforts for both Jim Barr and Jack Billingham. That's it for this. After the break, we'll give you the results of the series, so stay tuned. Well, folks, here is the box score of Game 1. You saw the Reds winning opening day in extra innings, 3-2, in a walk-off. Both teams scored in the 10th inning with the new rule. We'll see how that plays out this year, but give the Reds, Red stuff. That's what they did. Game 2, right back at you in Cincinnati. This one, it's John Montefusco for the Giants and Don Gullett for the Reds. And this is a 1,000 paper cut loss for Montefusco. In the first inning, a walk, Morgan stolen base, and Griffey RBI double. Second inning, Dennis Menke RBI double. Third inning, bases loaded, pass ball. Fourth inning, P. Rose RBI single. Fifth inning, Joe Morgan RBI single. And in the sixth inning, solo homer, Tony Perez. So in what constitutes a drubbing, they systematically scored exactly 1 run in each of the first 6 innings. Plenty. In a 6-3 win, Don Gullett ran into some difficulty in the 8th. The suddenly shaky Cincinnati bullpen of Baylor Moore, Pedro Rabone, and Clay Carroll made it interesting by allowing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Giants to reach in the last 2 innings. Cincinnati prevails 6-3. They have a commanding 2-0 series lead as we go to Candlestick. All right. Candlestick Park and the Giants regroup. Gary Nolan versus Ron Bryant. And if Gary Nolan's mom and dad are watching, cover your eyes. Your son is getting beaten like a rented mule early and often in this game. Fuentes single, McCovey single, Dietz 3-run homer, Joshua single, Spire single, 2-run double, Bob Robertson, walk, Larry Herndon, 3-run homer, Bobby Bonds, all in the first inning. Then in the second inning, a sac fly, and then by the 4th inning, just Nolan's in there just to eat up some innings to not wear out his bullpen. A 2-base error after a walk and a double. George Foster in center against a lefty instead of Geronimo. Whoops. This is a 9-0 and 11-run game, but Cincinnati makes it interesting, as we know they can do it. Ron Bryant, the 24-game winner for the Giants in 1973. Single, walk, double, single in the 3rd inning for 5 runs. Then in the 5th, a walk, double, 3-run homer, Dave Concepcion. This thing's 11-8. What are the Reds doing within 3 runs? You got 9 runs in the first inning, and still the Reds are within a grand slam because they're the Reds. But then, the sound you hear is a door closing. Because after Ron Bryant is pulled after 5, in the 6th inning, Charlie Williams comes in, gives you 2 solid innings, just giving up a couple hits. Mike Caldwell pitches the 8th, a couple hits. And then in the 9th inning, Gary Lavelle, a hit, a walk, a K, and a double play by Joe Morgan. And that's your ball game. Giants do win. Woo! 11-8. But the Reds made it intriguing. All right, let's take a look at now Game 4. Can the Giants, even this series? It is Pat Zachary versus Juan Marichal. Joe Morgan walks, steals a base, and scores in a Pete Rose single. How often did that happen? Bottom of the 2nd, RBI ground out Ed Goodson. We're tied at 1. Then Marichal makes his only mistake really in the 5th inning. A single, Joe Morgan stolen base, a walk to Pete Rose, but then Johnny Bench, a 2-out, 3-run homer, and it's a 4-1 game. And we think it might stay that way. As Pat Zachary's having himself a day through 7 innings, giving up just the 1 run. Gets the first 2 outs in the 8th, then he gives up a triple, then he gives up a walk. So with 2 outs and a 3-run lead, Clay Carroll on his big old can of kerosene comes into the game. He walks Bonds, he walks Fuentes. That's an RBI walk. A 2-run single to Gary Matthews. This thing's tied, another walk. Clay Carroll lets the first 4 batters reach, and the Giants tie the game. Meanwhile, Mike Caldwell, in relief of Juan Marichal, is fine. 3 shutout innings. Bottom of the 10th, zombie runner at second base, RBI single Gary Matthews, and the Giants get a walk-off extra inning victory to make up for the Reds' walk-off extra inning victory in game number 1. Folks, these teams, they've got some mettle, they got some toughness. When you think they're out, they're not. And now we go back to Cincinnati for Game 5. Folks, you never know. This game could be the tiebreaker to see who hosts the National League Championship Series. Do not laugh at that assertion. Who knows how this year could shake out? But it's up there. Jim Barr, Jack Billingham, 2. In this one, Pete Rose, homer. Is that right? Did that really happen? Pete Rose homers in the first inning. But the Giants get a double and another double by Fuentes in the third. An RBI single by Ed Goodson. It's 2-1 Giants. But in the bottom of the 5th, the Reds put together 3 singles, a walk, and a sac fly. They take a 3-2 lead. Then in the 7th inning, Billingham surrenders a single, a double, a Fuentes sac fly. The game's tied at 7. The lead has gone back and forth. These teams are proving to be championship mettle. Bottom of the 7th inning, Joe Morgan walks, steals the base, Rose walks, a couple ground outs, and then, believe it or not, you get a catcher's X. Dick Dietz is a 4+2 arm E12 C1 to 13. Mark Hill's on the bench as a -1 arm catcher. And that is the leverage, all the leverage the Reds need to sneak out a run. In the 8th, the Reds add a couple more runs on Gary Lavelle, 2 singles. RBI single, Concepcion, sac fly, Rose. So we go to the 9th. Cincinnati's got a 3-run lead. We've seen old Clay Carroll and his can of kerosene. Ballimore's been shaky, so they go to Pedro Borbon in the 9th. My goodness. Bonds leads off the 9th with a 3-run deficit with a solo shot. Tito Fuentes walks. Gary Matthews flies out. Rob Sparing flies out. But then you get singles by Dietz. Single by Von Joshua, the tying run at second, the winning run at first, with 2 outs. But Chris Spire grounds out to end the game. And the Reds hang on by the skin of their overrated bullpen. With a 6-5 win. Cincinnati wins 6-5. Billingham did get the victory. He left the game in the 7th, but his team got him a run in the bottom half. Tough loss for Jim Barr. Billingham, 7 innings, 8 hits, and 3 runs. Barr, 8 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. Bourbon's save, 1 inning, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. And Bourbon and Clay Carroll have ERAs around 9. Even though the Reds won this series 3-2, the home field, home cooking won every game. Break up the Cincinnati Reds, trying to get back to the World Series. Step 1, check. Though it was very tough, and the Giants are more than capable of knocking them around. We'll see you next time.